pleased with the second half, and it's like I told the guys in the locker room, it's tough. You feel like you're playing your best basketball you've played all year the last couple weeks, and within a matter of minutes Wednesday night or Tuesday night, Rob Finnessy, was really giving us something, getting back into the swing, and Vic go down, and that's tough on a team because everybody you can say whatever you want. Our team feels it, and that's frustrating and tough. But it's we talk about this a lot as a group. It's not about what happens, it's about how we respond to what happens, and I thought we responded really well in the second half tonight to what happened in the first half, or the frustration of those two going down and not being available. So I'm proud of that. I think that says a lot about our leadership in our locker room, and I think about David DeJulius first when I think about that. So I'm proud of him. I thought he really did some nice things to try to get us going defensively and get our grit and our edge going defensively tonight. That might not show up in the stat sheet. That might not be the sexy thing to talk about, but there's some possessions where he just sits down and defends, and it makes the rest of our team want to defend. So I was proud of him. Needless to say, guys, the second half was what you want to see. We got our hands on balls. Our defense was active. Defense leads to offense. Jeremiah, I thought, played some of his best offensive basketball and defensive basketball there in the second half, and that gave us a huge lift. We're asking so much of Dave and Odie and Ches from a minute standpoint right now, and I thought they were all terrific, even though it wasn't Chez's night or Lander's night shooting the ball. So that the second half was something I'm proud of. There were some things in the first half that were very frustrating. I'm sure they were frustrating to watch, but again, I liked how we came out and responded the second half.
Aside from mental, emotional impact of Vic and Rob going down, how has this team, especially Vic, had to adjust this week to not playing with him offensively? Because it seemed like they'd really gotten into a rhythm with the impact he had, I guess, on both ends of the floor.
Well, it's hard, Justin, because you want to go practice and get some more rhythm with Kalu, and maybe playing Kalu and Odie, because we have had some success playing with a bigger lineup at times. But it's tough because, David DeJulius and Landers and Odie played such heavy minutes. You also can't run them into the ground in practice because they're going to have to turn around and play heavy minutes again tonight. And so as a coach, you do feel a little frustration that you can only practice so much with those guys because of what we're asking for every night. And that's like the delicate tightrope you walk. You walk every day in practice right now this time of year. That's February. So it wasn't as much what we did in practice. I just thought those guys had found a rhythm offensively, and they adjusted tonight without Vic, who's obviously a huge part of what we do.
18 points for Odie, 9 of 9 from the floor. How far along has his offensive game come over the past couple weeks? Because he clearly had some issues around the rim, and it seems like he's worked through that and got his confidence back.
Well, he was finishing well, and then he went through a stretch early in league where it almost you could see it was in his head a little bit, right? And he did what we would all say to do anybody when they're going through any kind of stretch where they're not shooting well or playing as well in a certain area. You go work at it, and he's made a concerted effort to work at his game, to get extra time in the gym, to focus more in the time that we're in there with our team. And now he's starting to finish, but not just tonight, but as you said, over the last couple of weeks, and you look up and he's 9 for 9, 18 points with a career high. That's something you like to see.
Jeremiah said that you had reminded him during coming off the court in the first half, just play the right way and things will come for him. How proud are you of him in the way he played, from that moment on throughout the rest of the game?
God, I love Jeremiah Davenport. I love them all, but I love him. I mean, he's you know what's neat about him is you can coach him really hard. And so, you talk about being prideful or proud, I dug in his behind pretty good now because I didn't like a couple of the decisions he made. And it's always, with Jeremiah, you get to know these young people on such a different level than people that just watch him out there between the 94 feet. He's one of the better offensive talents we have in college basketball with his ability to shoot it and stretch the floor. And he's a real weapon. So you want him to be aggressive. You want him to take shots and make plays. But sometimes it goes a little too far. And I thought when he, putting his head down in traffic or, shooting a fade away and that type of thing. Those are kind of like turnovers. And we've been working through that the last couple weeks with him, and I think he's taken a lot of steps in the right direction. I didn't like a couple of those decisions, and obviously I was honest about how I felt, and he really responded, and that's what you like about him. When he takes the floor, guys, he just wants Cincinnati to win basketball games, and if they're all like that every day, Coach, it's pretty easy. But he's fun to coach, and I was proud of how he responded tonight.
We hadn't seen Henny for a bit. He gets in tonight, obviously pick out. How do you think he played? And then I'm sure kind of similar to Kalu early in the season, right? Like he has to have the mentality to be able to keep fighting and come into a moment like this.
Yeah, I talked about him in the locker room in front of the team. You know, I've said this before publicly. There ain't a lot of guys that work harder on their body and their game that I've coached than Jared Hensley. He's so committed, and to go the stretch of games he's gone without playing a significant minute, I've been through it as a player. It's really hard. I mean, it messes with you mentally, emotionally, and for him to be ready when his name was called tonight, and I think make some significant plays in the game. You know, the rebounding. I thought Hines has given us problems since I got here. It's like he likes to play against the Bearcats, and I thought Jared did a really nice job on him at times. And then obviously he made a really nice play driving downhill to find Landers late in the game in a late shot clock situation. So I talked about him because I'm really proud of that. Dan Skillings, I thought, gave us solid minutes, you know, and like it's so neat to watch Dan's growth as a player because like everybody sees the talent and the ability, and he'll make these wildly impressive plays. And we all get excited about that. And then sometimes it's a little bit up and down. That's the freshman stuff. And he's starting to become the consistent guy, you know, the solid guy, and that's going to be really good for Cincinnati basketball because the talent and stuff will continue to come out, but he's got to be solid possession after possession. And I thought he let the ball find him tonight to take good shots, and he makes those 2 big threes in the corner. He makes a great back cut in the first half. He defended much better tonight. You know, obviously there was that stretch when he checks in the second half, and it's like 2 plays back to back. You're like pulling your hair out, but then he gets it back together. So I thought like guys like Jared and Dan and Kalu, it was nice to see them make some plays and gain some confidence tonight.
David, I think now up to 11 straight games with 5+ assists, kind of just seamlessly transition the front court, pick and roll chemistry with Odie that he's shown with Vic. How difficult is that to have that kind of chemistry and timing with multiple big men in the front court throughout the whole season?
Y'all know this. I don't get too crazy about statistics with individual statistics, but that's 3 games of 9 assists in the last 4 or 5. Is it 3 out of 4? 3 out of 5?
3 out of 4, I think.
3 out of 4, 9 assists. I'm glad you guys are talking about it. You should
ever
be.
do that?
Huh?
You ever do that?
What's that?
9 assists in 3 out of 4 games?
Heck no. And I got to throw the ball to Tyler Hansbrough and still never had 9 assists in the game. And he was never going to pass it, and so I had some chances. But no, 9 assists, 3 out of 4 games. I'm glad you guys are talking about it. You should be. That's pretty big time. That's pretty big time.
Everybody sees Vic's out. You get Kalu in the transfer portal. You get Odie in the transfer portal. You recruited them. You saw what they could do. Is it disrespectful for anyone to be surprised at them putting up the numbers that they have in the last 2 games?
I don't know who's surprised, so I don't know who's been disrespectful. But no, they're older players. They've played a lot of college basketball. They have ability. It doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't. I'm obviously proud when they get opportunities to step into different roles with injuries. You know, you're proud of that as a coach. That's what a good program does.
You mentioned the defensive aspect. You look down, David DeJulius held Tyler Harris to 3 of 15 from the field, just 7 points. Knowing how good of a scorer Tyler Harris is, how big is that to stand out on the stat sheet to see just a 3 for 15 night, knowing how, like I mentioned, an elite scorer Tyler Harris is?
He scares you to death, right? He's got multiple 30-point games in league play this year. And we're not talking about just random 30-point games. I think he had 30 at Houston. You know, has 30 at Memphis, and he's had others. I mean, so he scares you to death when you're going into a game because he's the type of guy that can just bury a bunch of shots all over the floor when you play great D. and make it a different type of game. I thought Micah Adams-Woods, who drew the assignment to start the game and for the majority of the game, was great. And then I thought David in some stretches was phenomenal as well. So I thought the combination of those two did a good job of making it difficult for him to get shots behind the line. And then, with his size, you try to get him inside the three-point line and you make him shoot over the top from 2. And he can do that. And he did that early. He also found some guys for dunks early. So you look at his numbers, but he had a better game maybe than his numbers say. But I am proud of the job that Chewy and Dave did to just make it difficult for him to shoot the ball.
2 more.
24 assists on 31 big baskets. Was it just a matter of time before the good looks started falling?
Yeah, I thought in the first half, I was not pleased with us defensively. I was pleased with us on the offensive board at times in the first half, and I was pleased that we got them in the bonus. That's something that you just want to see from our team more consistently. We've talked about it all year. But I wasn't pleased with us defensively at all. But offensively, there was some bad possessions. But there's also some possessions where the ball's moving and we get a quality shot and it just doesn't go in. And we're on the board and we just don't kind of come up with it. But as the game kind of goes on, if you keep moving the ball and you keep executing, you're going to get good shots. And, 24 assists, again, that's what you want to see. You want to see guys share. This is I said this on my radio before I came in here on the radio. We have a team that's willing to share the ball. That's excellent. I've known that for a long time. The trick for our team is making the simple pass. Everybody wants to pass the ball, which is awesome. I mean, as a coach, I appreciate that and value that. But we got to make the simple pass to the guy that's 8 or 10 feet away that's open, that you get no credit for. Nobody in here is going to talk about it. None of the fans are going to talk about it. But then that guy gets in, he makes the simple pass, and then all of a sudden you break the defense down and make a play. And I thought tonight, with few exception, we just made the simple pass consistently, and that's how you have 24 assists.
Is there anything you can say about Vic with 2 big road games coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like him to. I asked him today. Y'all saw him limping around in the boot out there. I said, hey, can I get 4 to 6 minutes? Can I get a rotation? So I'm gonna wake up in the morning. I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna say, big fella, we better. And he's probably gonna say no tomorrow. And then Monday I'm gonna call him and I'll say, big fella, we better. And he's probably gonna say no. And then I'll keep doing it until he says yes. So the minute that him and Bob Mangine tell me he can play, his butt will be back out there, and everybody will be happy about it.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Coach.